I've got another amazing story that you've probably never ever heard about Trump, because the mainstream fake media will never ever show anything positive about this guy. So I need you to watch this. I need you to share this, tap the thumbs up. Here we go. Watch this amazing video. Learn another side of President Trump and his entire family and what he does that never ever gets reported.
Nelson Mandela and 80 of his constituents were trying to come to the United States.
Yeah.
The United States government wasn't helping him. No one was helping him. You chartered a 727 plane for their entire trip.
Yeah.
How is somebody, and that's crazy because you can talk about anything, and why is it hard for you to talk about the things you've done? It runs in your family. Your father helped build a synagogue. I mean, why do we not know those things?
It's something that I've never, I love doing it. I don't need praise for it. I don't, we all like a certain level of praise, but I've never, I just like helping people. I help a lot of people, and I enjoy doing it, and I never talk about it. It's nice that you bring it up. I also think it's not a narrative that the press likes talking about, for me.
But I think it would help a lot of the American people who have been misled, I myself included. Now listen, I'm voting for you now because of the man you are, not just because of the policies, because not every American will get the opportunity that I had to saw who you were backstage. And that's why I have this list. I mean, I have testimonials. We can't go through all because
I want to see them.
Now this was I had to dig deep.
I like that.
You donated $100,000 to raise dogs. You're not even a dog guy.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, that's Lara. So I have a wonderful, the wife of Eric, and she's a terrific person. You know, she's actually now a very big and important person in getting elected in the Republican Party. She comes from North Carolina. She loves the dogs, and I did that in her honor, actually. And you know, if you listen to her, boy, dogs are treated very badly. They're, you know, some evil people having to do even with dogs. So I did that for my daughter-in-law. Yeah, more so than me. I don't know that much about dogs, but I want to take care of them. And I had an opportunity. You know, as president, you can do a lot of things. I did a lot. The size of the kennels, the size of the cage. You know, there's like cages that they're in, and it's terrible. It's like you have no room, no nothing. And she came in with a whole group of people. These are people that really fight hard for dogs. I mean, you have people that fight. And she's a good person, so I did it for her.
I have hundreds of employees who have said things like, you've paid medical bills, you've paid mortgages, rents, you've helped get family members. There's one story in here where a brother came in with a business plan, nobody would hear him. You gave him 10 minutes, you shook his hand, and you cut him a check.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard for you and even your team? I'm a little upset. These are things that I think the American people need to know. And I get it, you're humble because you're a father first.
Yeah.
It's just further confirmation and really makes you wonder why the mainstream media is not fair. This is supposed to be an institution of integrity, journalistic integrity, non-biased, objective, reporting the facts. Remember those old black and white movies of the 50s and 40s? Just the facts, man. Just the facts. Dragnet. It's literally verging on election interference, because never mind the policies, and I disagree with Tyrus as I'm voting for you, the man, not just the policies. I like Trump, but I think his policies are even better. As much as I like him and I think he's charming and funny, I love his dance, I love his personality, I love his brashness. Are there some things that he says that I wish he wouldn't? Of course. Just like every dude, every man, we all put our foot in our mouth. I put my foot in my mouth every single day. But I think his policies, as you saw lifelong Democrat Bill Ackman say, Jamie Dimon, CEO of Chase, say, and so many others, the policies, I'm not voting. Some people have even gone as far as saying, I'm not voting for Trump, I'm voting for America versus communism, versus, you know, some kind of strange third world ideology with wokeism and DEI and our border crisis and the economy and everything else. But all we hear from the mainstream media is, I shared an article just recently in The Atlantic, they're calling him Hitler and Mussolini combined, and Stalin. They've called him a threat to democracy. He's going to be a dictator day one. Project 2025. These are all absurd lies. You go to a Trump rally, you actually listen to him talk. I'm telling you right now, please, There's a lot of things I'm bad at, but when it comes to judging a person's character, I feel like there's nobody better than me. Maybe one person better than me, and that's my wife. I know that this guy has a huge heart. He says some asinine things at times. He says some things that make you maybe go like this and cringe, maybe some mean tweets, whatever. But his heart is in the right place. His intentions are that of goodness, of inclusivity, real, true, substantive inclusivity, not DEI inclusivity. He actually cares about his country. He loves his country. He likes to help people time and time and time again. We not only see that reflected in the 4 years that he was in office, but you heard what the host Tyrus said. It's time and time again, testimony after testimony, case after case, instance after instance. He's paid people's mortgages, paid people's tuition. He's helped thousands of people, chartered a plane for Nelson Mandela, helped that guy in New Jersey, in Uniondale, the New York rally, helped that guy's family. His father knocked on his door. I mean, if you haven't seen that video, you got to check that video out. But we never hear about this. It's almost like, one of those movies where the good guy ends up being the bad guy at the end. You almost find out, oh, it's been you this whole time. You're behind all this. You're behind all this treachery and all this deviant, depraved behavior. It's like Obama and the Democrats. I want to share something with you really quickly. Watch this speech by Obama. It is unbelievable, the blatant lies that he says about Trump. Watch this.
Between the, quote, real Americans, by which he means his supporters, and the outsiders who don't support him. Because having people divided and angry and aggrieved and resentful, he figures that boosts his chances to get elected.
There's never, ever, I've said this so many times, every time I hear Trump talk, every time I hear him give a speech, it's never violent, hateful, or divisive rhetoric. I had somebody who was at the Butler, the famed Butler rally in Pennsylvania on July 13th, the day of infamy where Trump was shot at, said it was their very first Trump rally, and they were previously Democrats. They said they've never, ever felt more welcomed, so much love, so much welcome, inviting faces, voices. I also talked about Evan Barker, who was a lifelong Democrat, actually raised millions of dollars for the Democrats, was a higher up operative at the DNC, said she's done with the Democratic Party after what she saw at Kamala Harris's DNC recently because of the divisiveness, because of the lack of care of the people, and they gave all their attention to their mega donors. Everything that this divider in chief is saying are flat out lies. This is just pure, unadulterated lies. Nobody ever feels hate or divisive at any of Trump's events, not one.
So those are his intentions.
Wrong. False.
I do have to point out that along with his intentions, there is also a question of his competence.
Here we go.
Have you seen him lately?
Look at this. This is so bad.
He is out there. He's given 2.5 hour speeches, just word salads. You have no idea what he's talking about.
You actually have the audacity. I mean, you should know better, Barack Hussein. You should know better. You're going to actually call Trump somebody who's out of it and who's incoherent and doesn't make any sense. Do you know who your puppet is? Do you know who your candidate is? Did you see the Brett Baer Fox interview? Have you seen any time this woman gets in front of a microphone? You're going to call Trump somebody who engages in word salads. Are you kidding me right now? Who's falling for this?
Talking about Hannibal Lecter. He's talking about this. He's talking about that. He held a town hall meeting where he just, let me explain, because I've done a lot of town hall meetings. The point of a town hall meeting is to take questions. He just decided, you know what, I'm going to stop taking questions, and then he's swaying to Ave Maria and YMCA for about half an hour. Folks are standing there not sure what's happening. Can you imagine if if I did that? Can you imagine if Ruben did that right in the middle? Now, our playlist would probably be better.
He just said about the town hall, about him listening to music for 30 minutes, is such a callous, false, deceitful, dishonorable, bold-faced, capital L-I-E, lie. During that town hall meeting with Kristi Noem, the governor, 2 people ended up having a medical emergency in the middle of that town hall. Instead of panicking, telling everybody to go home, stopping it short and leaving, he decided to put on some music, try to calm some people down, and be the stalwart leader that he is, and just try to bring the vibes and the energy to a level of calmness and keep everybody in there and say, hey, we're going to let the doctor do their thing. Let's listen to a little bit of music. Just trying to quell the severity of the situation and not make everybody feel uncomfortable. And he took questions right after that, you lion-ass degenerate. These are, I mean, it's just, it makes me just, it's so flabbergasting. It makes me, it's mind-blowing. I mean, you know, when it comes to Ratty Raskin and Shifty Schiff and AOC, you expect it from morons like that. I actually voted for you in 2012, Obama. Probably the worst, insane, awful mistake I've ever made in my entire life, and there isn't a day go by that I don't regret it. It is now abundantly clear that you, President Obama, are not only the divider-in-chief, the one who has sown the most divisiveness, the most hate, because you can control that. Everything that you say he's doing, you're doing, but I actually think you are the architect of fake news. Not only are you the emperor who's not wearing any clothes, you're not afraid to admit right to your loyal sheep subjects that you're not wearing any clothes because you know they won't do a damn thing about it. Because you control the apparatus that has been shoveling these lies for God knows how long. That is the only way you can make it make sense, that you are spewing these outright falsities and foul lies. They're just foul lies, period. Not only is it anti-American, not only is it anti-democratic, not only are you the real threat to democracy, but it's disappointing, it's disheartening, because you did inspire a lot of people, and I think you're smart enough to know better. And the only thing that I can surmise that why you're doing all this and why you're telling all these callous lies, I mean, lie after lie, there isn't a molecule of truth to anything he just said in that speech, is because you value power more than you do your oath. You value power, you value control more than you do serving the American public, which is what your number one duty should be. Thankfully, people are waking up. This is Sean McGuire, who is a partner at Sequoia, who was recently one of the most terrified individuals of Trump. He was terrified of Trump. He was a huge Hillary supporter, and now, listen to this.
2016, I was genuinely scared out of my mind about Trump. I had drunk the full Kool-Aid. I was terrified. The thing that for me had, the 2 things that had me the most terrified were, one, I care a lot about foreign policy. I care a lot about defense. I worked in US DoD for a few years, deployed to Afghanistan, supporting the US military, and a lot of people in my family were in the military. And back in 2016, there was the Steele dossier, which basically seemed like very strong evidence that Trump was owned by Russia. For me, that was like worst case scenario, that we would have a president that was influenced by a foreign adversary. And so that for me was probably the number one issue. The second thing was the video of him saying that he would, he could grab a woman by her pussy. Like, that just really bothered me from a character perspective. And so I went from, in 2016, not only did I vote for Hillary, I donated to Hillary, which I didn't have much money at the time. And I donated, I think it was $2,300 or whatever was the max you could donate. Like, I really, really cared about that election. And then learned that the Steele dossier was fake. And not only was it fake, it was financed by the Clinton campaign. That Trump, who we were told was owned by Russia, there's this amazing video of him at a NATO breakfast I don't remember the year, but a few years ago. And he's basically warning German envoy and other people at NATO that they're owned by Russia, that they're not investing enough into like their NATO defense budgets. They're supposed to invest 2% of GDP. They're investing about 1%, that they're dependent on energy from Russia, and that, you know, these are catastrophic mistakes, and that Russia has a real chance of attacking them. And for me, when I saw that video sometime in the 2020s, it's like, wow, not only is this guy not a Russian agent, he's telling Europe exactly what they need to do to defend against Russia. And so those things for me were very powerful. And then the Afghanistan withdrawal, which, you know, again, is somewhere that I deployed to and spent 4 months and worked on Afghanistan for years. That for me was just one of the most embarrassing days, like, I think, in the history of America. And people will say that Trump and Obama talked about leaving Afghanistan. I have many friends that were working on those operations, and the blame of how chaotic that withdrawal was is 100% the Biden-Harris administration's fault. Like, it was very easy to make that go better. We had tons of intelligence for weeks leading up to what happened, and you have to adapt to intelligence.
Thank God for independent media organizations like myself and other channels that actually share the truth. And I appreciate every single one of you, not just my fellow Americans, but I know there's a lot of people all over the world, global citizens of humanity. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I can't wait to get your comments on this. Maintain your sovereignty. Maintain your number one power, critical thinking. Nobody can have sway over you. Nobody can influence you. Nobody can make you do jack if you exercise your number one superpower. Thank you so much for watching. We're weeks away from the most consequential election of our lives. Please vote as early as possible. Vote like yesterday. And vote like your lives depend on it. Because guess what? It does. We have to stop these villains. The good guys have to win. We got to stop these guys immediately. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here. Subscribe and follow by hitting my face if you haven't already. And as always, may God bless you and may God bless America. I'll see you soon.